Welcome to the Comic Book Shop of Doom. I'm your host. This video is not for children, so if you're under 13, get your parents' permission to watch this. I don't need a $40,000 fine from COPA, YouTube, or the government. So anyway, we're going to talk about today. Is Marvel Cinematic Universe / Marvel Studios, are they going woke? So everybody's screaming that when you go woke, you go broke. Well, the problem here is, if they go woke, will this place start to go down? Okay, I read this over the weekend. Now, these are just rumors, so we'll see where this goes. But the first one was John David Washington. Okay, that's the guy. He's going to star in Tenet. Okay. They want to make him now. He's in the lead to be Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. And then the other one is Giancarlo Esposito. He's rumored to play Doctor Doom, Magneto, and Professor X. So they want to reboot all those movies. And Giancarlo Esposito is a good actor, and he's playing Moff Gideon on The Mandalorian. And I actually made a comment in a couple of the threads on a website that I said, you know who he would be good for, and it respects the characters and the history of the characters, but I don't think they're not going to like this because it's not going to be a big enough part. He's perfect for Tombstone, the Spider-Man villain, where he's an actual black guy, but he's like an albino, but he's like hard as a brick, and he's like an enforcer. And the way this guy acts, he's perfect for that. And somebody like caught that and said, wow, that's spot on. So I think that the point is, these guys are just going to start casting black actors. They're pandering to China with the Shang-Chi movie. They're pandering to women with turning Thor into Jane Foster. And that comic didn't do any business. So why would you make a movie of it now if the comic book was a failure? So it just doesn't make sense. They turned Zendaya was the new Mary Jane, but she's actually not she's MJ, but it's not Mary Jane, it's another character. So I could see the alternate reality thing if they're going to do that. So Marvel, if they're going to do that multi-universe thing, I could see that. But if they're just going to carry on with the timeline, I think that they should be, at least respect the history of a lot of these characters. And they haven't. Over the years, they did, what's his name was the Kingpin. Oh, the big dude. And he was black, and the Kingpin was never black in the comics. And Nick Fury, they turned him into Samuel L. Jackson. Well, I could see why they did that, because they did the Ultimate Universe version of him. So is this an alternate reality? You know, but they're really changing too many of these guys around. And it's not just a black or white thing, or a woman thing, or a Chinese thing, or let's cast a minority in this. It's these characters have a lot of history. And if you're going to do that, just create a new guy. So, like they did in the Ultimate Universe, they did the Maker. That was the evil Reed Richards. Well, that's perfect for, you could have an alternate reality Reed Richards. But they haven't learned from their mistakes either, because they did this with the Fantastic Four movie from 2015, where they turned Johnny Storm into Michael B. Jordan. And that was a big flop. And they caught heat for that. And they just don't care. They just keep pumping out these guys when people are rejecting the roles. And they, like I said, they don't look at history. The Honeymooners, when they turned that cast all black, that movie didn't make any money. And it disappeared. And try finding it now. It's like almost impossible to find that movie. So it's like a buried movie. So it's like, I don't know what Marvel's doing, and how many of these mistakes or bad casting decisions just because of somebody's race are they going to do before it falls back on them, where you start getting a flop? So Marvel hasn't had really a flop yet. Star Wars did with Solo, but I blame that on it was too close to the other movie. It was too close, and there was a history with that movie was being, they took it away from the director, so the word got out that it was a dud. It was actually a good movie. They fixed it, but the fans rejected it. And they rejected that Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, and everybody always seen Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford said, don't even make this movie. He said it to anybody. He said, don't do it. It's going to be a flop. And he was right. So he knew that everybody associated him with that character. And it's probably the same with Indiana Jones. If they ever do another Indiana Jones movie, if they don't use him, it's going to be a flop. TV, they could get away with it, like with the young Indiana Jones, because it was, years ago. But yeah, they've done some really weird things. And like right now I'm wearing a Deadpool shirt, and they're going to make Deadpool PG-13, and I see why they're going to do that, because they have the streaming service, and they can't put an R-rated movie on Disney Plus. So that's the marketing behind that, is they could put a PG-13 movie on there, but they can't do an R-rated movie. That's why they have Hulu. And Disney kind of handicaps themselves with that too, where they have Hulu for all their R-rated stuff, and the Disney Plus streaming services for all the kid and family-friendly stuff. But I said what they screwed up on is they should have just wiped out Hulu and said it's all Disney Plus now, and did a tier system where you got to pay more for the R-rated stuff, and that's on a different tier where you got codes and everything to get in there. So then the kids can't see it, and but they don't want to associate with it, So they're the marketing guys. But I mean, what do you guys think? How many Marvel movies will they do where they keep changing the races of these characters? And the other thing with like Magneto, if they're going to make him a black guy, Magneto was Jewish, and it was in the concentration camp in Poland. Now I know there's black Jewish guys, but like I said, they're deviating too much from the origins. And the other thing I think they're doing too is they're running out of actors. That they've went through the gamut of all the Hollywood people, and they're starting to run. And that's another problem. They're starting to run out of roles for these guys. They're talking to the guy that plays the governor on The Walking Dead. They're talking to him. Marvel's talking to him. They're talking to Keanu Reeves. And they keep saying John Krasinski wants to do the Fantastic Four where he plays Reed Richards. So they have certain guys that they're looking at, but it's like they don't know where to put these guys or what roles they're going to get. And, and then the whole thing with Hugh Jackman retiring, who's going to play Wolverine? Will they make Wolverine black? Or even, I'm shocked they haven't done a black Hulk, because they've had every other color. Sasquatch is the orange Hulk, basically, because it was all cosmic rays or whatever. So I'm surprised they haven't done the Bulk or the Bulk or something like that. And I could see that. But Giancarlo Esposito, I'll tell you who he'd be good for. The Leader. If I could see him, he's got that mentality, build up his head, where, he's the brain guy. He was the villain in the Hulk movies. And that's one of the things that's missing with the Hulk is they've never had a really good villain. I don't like the Abomination. I never liked that character. So, and the Hulk should just be like, almost like a Godzilla movie. Like, he just smashes and destroys. And I would have the Leader be the head of the bad guys, and he has a couple dudes working for him. But that's a perfect part for him. Or, like I said, Tombstone. But they won't do that. So, we'll see. But remember, when you go woke, you usually go broke.